Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, T-Rex, and I'm bringing you a video today that's maybe a little bit different. This is really the first time that I'll be making content on my own that is not related to video games. And today, I want to talk to you about one of the things that I collect. And today, as you might be able to tell by this stack of things here that you may or may not already guess what they are, I'm going to be talking about some vinyls. So, I just want to, this is my entire collection right here. I think there's about 20-something vinyls in here, so it's not huge, but I for the most part I love all of these albums. Some of them I do enjoy, but they're not like my like favorite, but a lot of these albums are some of my very favorite albums ever, and I'm gonna walk you through them and give you a quick thoughts on how I feel about them and whatnot. And maybe if you guys like this video, at some point I will do a top 10 video for you guys and just pick out my top 10 vinyls and talk about them more in depth. Maybe even a top 5, because that might take a while. I don't know. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how long this video ends up being. And then based on that, we'll maybe do more videos on vinyls and my favorites. And maybe just going through specific albums and talking about them, if this is something that you guys are into. So one thing you gotta know is that I do organize my vinyls in 2 ways. First is alphabetically. So by artist name, A to Z. Pretty simple, pretty basic. I hope everybody kind of does that. And the second way is chronologically. So if I have like 3 albums by one artist, for example, then I would organize it chronologically from the date that they came out. Earliest, latest, most recent, right? I think that kind of makes sense. Hopefully, that's what most people do. Hopefully, I'm not weird in that. But yeah, that's how I do it. So anyways, let's just get right into the vinyls. The first one we have up right here is Everything All the Time by Band of Horses. I really enjoy Band of Horses. You might be able to tell by just how shiny this is that this still has the plastic wrap on it. Yeah, I've never actually went and listened to this one. It's been on my mind. It's been something I want to do. I know that Band of Horses is a very beloved band, but I don't know much about them. But I did pick this up because it was just super cheap at Barnes & Noble one day. I think it was like $10, and I knew I liked The Funeral a lot. And that song alone was worth the purchase. I hope I listen to this sometime very soon. I know I should. I'm sorry. All right, and next up we got 3 vinyls by one of my very favorite bands or artists of all time, Bon Iver. This one is For Emma, Forever Ago, and oh boy, this is a good album, as you can see as well by the particular sheen and shininess on this one. I have never taken the plastic wrap off of this one either. I've never actually listened to this album on vinyl, but fear not, I have listened to this album many a time on Spotify and Apple Music at different points in time. No, I didn't have the same subscription at the same time. Are you? Yeah. No, I did not have both subscriptions at one time. No. I'm just saying. I have listened to this album a lot. It's a good album. Especially For Emma. Woo! Next up, also by Bon Iver, if you couldn't guess, is 22 A Million. This a little less shiny, right? I've bumped this one a lot on my record player. Man, this is a good one. This is very auto-tuned. A lot of their other stuff is very acoustic and instrumental and beautiful, and this is very dark and kind of gritty. It has some lighter moments, and it's very auto-tuned in the singing, but I really love the sound of this. Justin Vernon is a freaking boss, dude. So if you haven't heard 22 A Million by Bon Iver, please check it out. And hey, you're not pronouncing that right, man. I don't know how to pronounce it, dude. Okay, I've seen them live, though, so get off me. All right, and next up by Bon Iver is their self-titled album, Bon Iver. This is probably the one I've listened to the most. I mean, dude, you just got some freaking hits on here. Holocene, Towers, Michigan. That 3-track run is probably one of my favorites. But of course, all of these tracks, dude, are super good. I love the artwork on this. It's very woodsy, very weird. It's like it's on like a parchment and it's being torn here, but then it's still painted. I don't know. I love this artwork. I always have, and this album is so stinking good. So Bon Iver, self-titled, love it. All right, and next up we got an album by David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Again, shiny, right? Yeah, I haven't listened to this one on on the record player yet. I have listened to this album many times on streaming services, of course. Dude, this album is so good. David Bowie is a legend. I've also always liked the theory that I don't know how well you can see this, but you see, that's David Bowie right there, and then you see the sign right above his head, right? How it says K West. I've read a theory multiple times. I've seen this theory online that somehow David Bowie and Kanye West are tied together in some sort of ethereal, ever-looming, greater power type of way. I love the theory because Kanye West, as many of you probably know, is my favorite artist, and David Bowie is one of my favorite artists and a legend. I mean, dude, I love it. This album, if you haven't listened to it, even you young kids out there, you might get a kick out of this one, okay? Highly recommend it. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I had to look at it because it's kind of a long title. All right. Next up, we got another shiny one. If you're reading this, It's Too Late by none other than Drake, of course. This is the only Drake album that I have on vinyl. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite Drake album, but it's definitely one of them. It's the only one that I've ever seen in a store to be able to pick it up myself. And I'm not keen enough on Drake really to go out and search online and buy one. So, yeah. All right, next up we have a Foo Fighters Greatest Hits album. I like albums to be like their own thing, separate. So I don't really like Greatest Hits albums either, typically, because it doesn't feel right to me. I think an album should be taken as it was meant to be taken. But I also don't like the way that the Foo Fighters set up their albums, so that's kind of why I have a Foo Fighters Greatest Hits album. If you don't know the Foo Fighters and you don't know their greatest hits, check this one out. They're pretty damn good. Seen them live too. Pretty damn good. All right, guys, these next few albums are my favorite part of my entire collection. These are albums that literally mean the world to me. Some more than others, but still, all of them carry importance in my life in one way or another. They've had a profound impact on me as a person, and yeah, you probably, if you know me at all, or if you hung out in the stream at all, you've probably already been able to guess that yes, the following albums are Kanye West albums. So let's get right into it. Number 1, College Dropout. I don't have any words. I mean, you got Jesus Walks, All Falls Down, 2 of his first big singles, Through the Wire as well. This was Kanye's first album. They said, "Oh, you're not a rapper, you're just a producer." And Kanye said, "Well, I'll show you." And then my favorite part about this album is he said, "Well, I'll show you. No, I can rap just as well as I can produce." And then not only did he say that, but on the last track on this album, Last Call, he literally claims that the College Dropout, this album, was a super success. So think about that. He not only was told you can't rap, just stick to producing, but he did the rap on the track. He did a rap album. It was good. And before anybody could even say it was good, and before it was even released to the public, he made a song on the album that claimed that the album was a success. Dude is a legend for that. I love him. That's always one of my favorite parts to talk about that album. It cracks me up. All right. Next up is Late Registration, also by Kanye West. I love this album artwork. It's kind of like menacing. Sometimes I feel like the bear should have a knife in his hand or something. But yeah, this is a great album. It's basically just a follow-up to College Dropout in many ways. The sound is there is very similar. You get a lot more horns and bombastic, like orchestral sounds in this one, but still so many good songs. I mean, I don't really think Kanye West has any bad songs. I could argue one, but even then, it's still better than most of your favorite artists. So, all right, this next one is my favorite album of all time, and I'm not going to get into all the reasons why now because it's supposed to be a little more quick than it has been so far. But 808s and Heartbreak You should be able to tell just by the title of the album, maybe why it's my favorite of all time. Maybe there was something in my life that I could relate to this. That's definitely the case. Maybe we'll talk about it more in the future, but for now, let's just leave it at that. Great album, great sound, super sad, but it got me through some of the worst times of my life. So shout out to 808s and Heartbreak. I want to get this or something akin to it tattooed on me at some point in my life. That's how much this album means to me. I love it. If you haven't heard it, highly recommend checking it out. Highly recommend checking this one out. All right, next up is probably critically acclaimed to be Kanye West's best album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. This album is just a complete feat of musical genius. And he brought so many people in to work with him on this album. It's just so good, dude. All right, and the next album I have here by Kanye West is Ye. One of my favorite artworks. Weird reflection. There we go. One of my favorite artworks by Kanye is a beautiful Wyoming mountain range. Nice sky. It's just a very nice color. And then he just wrote. I think he took this with an iPhone actually, and he just wrote over it with some green paint. I hate being bipolar. It's awesome. The thing I like about this album is it's clearly, it says I hate being bipolar is awesome, and it's clearly, it goes along kind of with that idea of mental health and bipolarity, because it starts off very dark, and then when you switch sides of the vinyl, then it gets very light and uplifting and a lot more joyous feeling. So it definitely shows the duality of his personality there. All right, and the next Kanye West album I have here is Kid See Ghost. Technically, this isn't a Kanye West album. Technically, it's by Kid See Ghost, which is Kid Cudi and Kanye West. I could have put this with the Kid Cudi album, but I put it with the Kanye West albums because, to me, this really fits into the scope of Kanye West's discography. And if you're interested in why I say that, maybe I'll make a video on it sometime. Let me know in the comments down below if that's something you're interested in. But I definitely think that this fits perfectly into the grand scheme of Kanye West's discography and how they all work together. But yeah, there's so many good songs. If you haven't heard this album, dude, check it out. I also think this is the most important album that has been released in a very long time. It deals heavily with mental health issues, and man, this album, it's just so good. All right, now the last album in Kanye West's discography so far. Hopefully we're getting one soon. Jesus is King. I love the album. I really do. If you don't know, which you may or you may not know, I am a Christian. Maybe a little bit of an unconventional one, but I love this album. It really hit home for me. It really made me rethink some things in my life, and just another reason why I love Kanye West and the impact his music has had on me. All right, the next album is Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. A classic. I don't want to speak too much on this album. It's just a classic, dude. Everybody knows it. His follow-up album, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. Also a phenomenal album. I love the artwork here. It's clearly sending a message. Great artwork. This album, obviously, very important. Especially, it remains important to this day with what's going on in the world with social justice and all that stuff. And Black Lives Matter. This album is super duper duper important. If you haven't heard it, it's just fantastic. Check it out. Couldn't recommend it more. This album is definitely a 10 out of 10. All right, and then the latest and last album by Kendrick Lamar. If you can't tell, I'm also a pretty big Kendrick Lamar fan. Damn. This album also super damn good. Kendrick Lamar just doesn't miss, man. He just doesn't miss. Kendrick Lamar is one of those guys that really doesn't make a bad song. He's an impeccable rapper. I still think definitely the best of our time. All right, next up we have Man on the Moon by Kid Cudi. As you can tell, this one's kind of shiny, right? I haven't taken out of the plastic wrap yet. This one was a gift from my cousin Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. He and I have spent a good amount of time listening to this album together. I know at least some of the songs from it for sure. We've spent a lot of time listening to together. But this album is so good. This is my favorite Kid Cudi album, and some of his best songs on here. I think this is his best work. Kid Cudi, one of my favorite artists. Love him. Check this one out, dude. All right, next up we have Swimming by Mac Miller. Also a little shiny because the plastic's still on it. Haven't spun this one yet, but really a great album released shortly before Mac Miller passed away. Very solemn album. It was almost like you could tell that he knew that it was coming, which really makes it kind of depressing, but nonetheless, it's a really, really good album. I can't really think of a track on here that I don't like. My favorite probably being Come Back to Earth and 2009, and also Self Care is really good. But all these all these songs here, really good. But yeah, Mac Miller, rest in peace, man. We love you. We love you. And one more by Mac Miller, Circles. This is his posthumous album. Came out this year. Super good, super sad. I haven't played it on vinyl yet, but I plan on doing so sometime very soon. I just need to be in the right mood. I need to be in a kind of somber, solemn, kind of existential crisis kind of mood for this album to kind of bring me down and calm me, and maybe in some ways make me more sad. But yeah, phenomenal album. If you haven't heard this one, definitely check it out. All right, next we got this Modest Mouse album, The Lonesome Crowded West. Comes in with two different packages, but it's one album, so take that as you will. I haven't listened to this album very much, if I'm being honest. I believe this one was a gift. I do really like Modest Mouse, but I'm not necessarily in love with this album. This is one of the few albums in my collection that I'm not really in love with. And we got more Modest Mouse. We got Good News for people who love bad news. But yeah, Modest Mouse. Obviously, this is the one with Float On, Ocean Breeze Salty, The World at Large. So many good tracks on here. This is my favorite Modest Mouse album. It's super good. If you have heard the song Float On and enjoy it, and you're like, hey, maybe these guys make more really good music, this is the album to check out. This is the one, dog. All right, and the last Modest Mouse album, We Were Dead Before the Ship Even Sank. Also a really good album. If you checked out Good News for people who love bad news and you liked it and you want more, this is where you go. This is also a really, really phenomenal album. Modest Mouse, I love it, dude. All right, next up we have an album by Outkast, Stankonia. As you can see, I haven't taken the plastic off of this one either, but I mean, dude, obviously I bump Outkast frequently, okay? Outkast is dope. The best duo in hip-hop. Changed my mind. You can't. I mean, if you don't like Outkast, just don't talk to me, all right? And the next one is Post Malone. This is Beer Bongs and Bentleys by Post Malone. Don't really know what much to say about this album besides Post Malone is insane. He literally only makes good music. He only makes songs that could be hits on the radio. That's it. So if you like Post Malone, you already know. If you don't, you're just incorrect. Sorry. That's it. But this next guy is one of my favorite artists. I have all three of his solo studio albums on vinyl, and here they are. Number 1, Rodeo by Travis Scott. Oh, phenomenal, dark trap album. Straight out of Houston. This guy's a beast. If you don't like Travis Scott, dude, you're just doing life wrong. Like, this guy is incredible. He's just incredible. Oh My Decide, 3500, 90210, Nightcrawler, Pray for Love. Dude, there's so many good tracks on this thing. It's ridiculous. One of my very favorite albums of all time. All right, and next up by Travis Scott, we have Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight. This is my least favorite album, I think, by Travis, but it's still really damn good. And lastly, we have Astroworld by Travis Scott. But yeah, Astroworld, his most recent album, phenomenal album. And the Astroworld tour was absolutely bonkers. So this album, love it. All right, And we're on our last artist. We got 2 more vinyls to go through by Tyler the Creator. The first one is, I believe, actually fully titled Scumfuck Flower Boy, but most just refer to it as Flower Boy. I love this artwork. As you can see, it's still in its plastic wrapping. I actually just got this in yesterday. Just came in the mail yesterday. And lastly, we have Igor by Tyler the Creator. This album is insanely good. It's one of my very favorite albums of all time. This is when I really realized, wow, I absolutely adore Tyler the Creator, and he makes phenomenal music that I would love to listen to all the time. There's not much to say about it besides the fact that it's really damn good. It's just got a great theme to it and a great story that kind of arcs throughout. And if you've ever been through a breakup or realizing that maybe the person that you love isn't going to work out, you would love this album. What can I say? All right. Anyways, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you want to see more stuff about my vinyl collection, maybe a top 10 video, maybe a top 5, or perhaps I take a specific album or 2 or discography of an artist and really talk about my feelings on it, my thoughts on it, my opinions, then let me know in the comments down below, or hit me up on stream sometime. I do stream on Twitch as much as I can at twitch.tv/TRECK. That's with 3 Z's. That's with a TWRECK, 3 Z's. Thank you guys for watching this video again. I love you. Peace out.